How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to episode number 13 of our Philadelphia Flyers franchise mode series here on NHL 22, headed into year number 4 with the franchise, the 2025-26 regular season. Now, last season we had a very difficult time. We decided to go aggressive, retool, and over the offseason we made some big moves. We made some big trades to acquire some draft capital. We had about $30 million to spend in free agency. We made some big moves. Now, headed into this next season, our lineup looks very good, but we could still possibly be better, as a lot of you were commenting down in the comment section of the last one. But at the moment, new Flyers, as in they weren't here to start last season, would be our first line right winger, Patrick Laine, who we signed in free agency, a 6-year contract paying him $11.55 million per season. Would I have liked to get him at $10 million? Would I have liked to get him at 9.75, whatever? Absolutely. But there was no way that he was signing for anything less than like 11.25. So if we overpaid, it was by like 0.2 million. There was no way we were going to get him and not pay that money. Now, hopefully he delivers. He's 27. He has a +5 on the first line. Fingers crossed. Jesse Puljujärvi, who we picked up at the trade deadline last season, he ended up coming to our team, maybe not quite the trade deadline, but the halfway point. He came to Philadelphia and scored 32 points in 44 games. He still has one more year at $3.48 million, but we signed him to basically a 5x5, so hopefully he'll stay here in the future. But we're already considering what would life look like without Puljujärvi, because it's been great to have him, but we haven't necessarily committed to him just yet. The extension can always be just a sign and trade type of thing. Morgan Frost up to an 86. We picked up Alex Newhook from the Colorado Avalanche. The man has not played hockey in 3 years. He's probably been over in Europe. Huge problems with the Avalanche organization. He has not played since 2021-22. Now in 2025-26, he's back in the NHL. We picked him up basically for a first-round pick. We got a little bit more back, but he will be our third-line centerman with a medium elite potential. On his left is Josh Parros, our 4th overall pick 2 years ago, and on his right is Matthew Savoie, our 6th overall pick 3 years ago. So great to see a little youth talent there on the third line. On the 4th, Ratcliffe, Forster, and Lindblom. I love Lindblom. I want him in the top 6, top 9. At the moment, an 84 overall on the 4th line, and he has a lot of trade value, so we'll revisit this later on. Defensively, Moritz Seider up to a 91, but our big free agent signing was Neil Pionk, 85 overall, who signed a 3-year deal paying him $5.95 million per season. An offensive defenseman who definitely helps with the special teams chemistry, and he helps that right side defense very much. We also drafted Hugo Brisebois with the 4th overall selection in the draft. The Islanders were willing to move their pick rather cheap for not too high of a cost, and we got our, hopefully, offensive defenseman of the future. He'll start third pair with our dear beloved son, Rasmus Ristolainen. And lastly, we picked up a new starting goaltender in Michael DiPietro, 84 overall, medium starter potential. He's still young, very high upside for a very low risk. 2 years at $1.75 million. Malcolm Subban still there to back him up. But that still leaves us with Bobby Brink as an 83 overall as 13th forward. Brink is too talented to be a 13th forward, so we'll have to figure something out through the preseason. But here are the lines. The chemistry looks great. The special teams chemistry looks amazing. +5s on both unit. So fingers crossed for this season, but we still have much to figure out, and it will all start with the preseason. Because as I get into the comments, the #1 recommendation from everyone, I think, in the Discord server and the YouTube comments, was to consider going after Wayne Peterson, an RFA over on the New York Rangers, a sniper centerman, 85 overall, high top 6, 21 years of age, has the 5-star shooting already. He takes about 3 shots per game in the NHL, averages, he just gets better every season. Seems to be at the 30-goal, 60-point range kind of guy. He would be very interesting for us to pick up. It's just that it's so crowded in the top 9 that we'd really have to figure something out. And if we did move trade capital, if we did move Brink, Lindblom, maybe even Cam York. Many people were suggesting moving him after he had a very bad season. There is another player who's interesting over on the trade block in New York on the Islanders, and that is Adam Pelech, who could be our new #1 left D. He's an 88 overall at 31 years of age, only making $5.75 million, and he signed for 4 more years. Defensive defenseman, 5-star defense. He could help Moritz Seider. Instead of it being Cam York or Travis Sanheim, we slot in an 88 overall instead, and that just adds to our accelerated retooling. Now, all that being said, I am very excited to get into this regular season. I would like to simulate the entirety of 2025-26 in this one episode. You'll know by the title whether or not I made it through that. Maybe I make a bit of a longer episode so that we make it through, but with the limitations on recording and NHL 23 coming out soon, I really want to get through as much as possible here in Philadelphia. So I won't spend too much time reading over the comments, but as always, they've been replied to in the comments section and over on Discord. Starting off the comments section with EJB Elite. Great trades data. Love the 4th overall pick. Hopefully he'll be our version of Cale Makar. Absolutely. Thank you. Brink was abysmal last year. He was a large factor in the failure of the team, and he does not deserve a spot on it. Get rid of him while his value is high. It's not even really that high, honestly, but it's higher than it will be, as it is going to probably begin to drop more. Unfortunately, Lindblom just does not have a spot on this team. I would package them and prospects if necessary to get Ryan O'Reilly or a different first-line centerman. Could be Wayne Peterson. A first line of Nylander, O'Reilly, and Laine would be fantastic and would significantly improve the goal scoring. The problem just right now is if a guy like O'Reilly comes into the lineup, who comes out of the top 6? A guy like Farabee or a guy like Puljujarvi would have to move, not just Brink or Lindblom. We still haven't got a solid first-line lefty for Moritz Seider. Slavin and Pelech are both interesting options. I would rather go with Slavin, but both players are an upgrade over Sanheim. We can move Sanheim to the second line and package York and Forster along with picks or prospects for the left D. If we were to sign Wayne Peterson, I think we would need to get rid of Farabee and Jesse P. Exactly, we can't just keep adding to the top 6. So pairing up Giroux, Peterson, and Frost as the second line could work out, but it would only work if Peterson scores and shoots a lot. He does. Check his shots and his goals. If he shoots a lot, I would 100% sign him. Jesse P and Farabee could be packaged maybe for a goalie, and I'm not going to go over this too much because we're going to roll with DiPietro at least for now. We'll see what he does and then decide from there. But Jesse P and Farabee basically could be traded as those wings. Brisebois and Mayorov are two very exciting prospects. I'm excited to see what they, along with the new and improved team, will do this season, and so am I. Thank you very much. So that's the problem with the forward core. If we bring in a new first-line centerman, whether it be O'Reilly, I prefer, honestly, O'Reilly's great, but he's 34 years of age, signed for 2 more years at around $7.5 million. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, because if it's Nylander, O'Reilly, Laine, the second line would be Giroux, Frost, and we have to remove one of our wingers. And that would be even if we don't bring in Peterson. If we do bring in Peterson, it's even more of a logjam. And the problem that I'm thinking about is, what is our long-term top 6? In our long-term top 6, Claude Giroux is going to be gone, probably retired within a couple of years, right? Joel Farabee, unless he really picks it up in the next couple of years, he'll probably be gone as well. So that opens up 2 spots in the future top 6. We have 3 guys on the third line who all want to crack into that top 6. Morgan Frost, an 86 overall, who's making $3 million for the next 5 years, he's not going anywhere unless he falls apart. Puljujarvi, who has, 30 points in 40 games, if he keeps that up, he's not going anywhere. Now, of course, everything is subject to change. Farabee and Puljujarvi could both be gone. Paros, Savoie move up, and that's just promoting our own players. Then that leaves 1 spot maybe for Newhook or for somebody else. We have other players in our system, right? We have Mayorov, we have Pekka, McLennan. That's the first line of the AHL. So if we add more players to it, like Wayne Peterson, who I would love to get, it would still be very difficult to swing. That being said, we go over to Scott's comment, who raises a good point. Personally, I don't particularly care for the Jesse P extension or for the Newhook trade for this exact reason. It just creates too much of a logjam at forward. I didn't expect either of these moves. Jesse Puljujarvi and Newhook coming into our top 9 were both unexpected opportunities that were just too good to pass up. So now we have Brink and several 78, 79s not able to crack the lineup. But what's done is done. Now the last thing we can do is compound that problem by adding another forward who's like an 83 overall, like Brandon Hagel. Post Thanos snap, Brink was an 83, now he's an 82, and what's he right now? He's an 83. He's back to an 83 at the moment, but likely out of the lineup as of now. I think it's time to move on from him. He's a year older. He's already regressing. We don't have much room for him. That being said, as some people have already said on the Discord, we don't have a true first-line centerman. I don't know, it depends. Giroux with a +5 is a 91 overall. Peterson, the New York Rangers RFA, is a center with 84 faceoffs. Maybe we can package Brink, Forster, Ratcliffe, whatever, to try and get a trade going. Then once Savoie is ready to play first line, we can have Peterson as the wing, or he becomes Giroux's eventual second line replacement. It's just that I really like Morgan Frost. With that contract that he's on, I don't see him leaving unless he really falls apart. He's just getting better. And as well, Scott noticed that in the Discord, people have been throwing out the possibility of dealing Jesse Puljujärvi. Didn't mention it because it wouldn't necessarily be realistic. We traded for him. He did well. We extended him. Could kind of frame it as a sign and trade, but at least we got to give him a 10-15 game audition to start the year, right? Obviously, given my original comment, I would get behind it if we did, especially if it helped us land someone like Peterson. Now, Peterson, for anyone who's wondering, if we did acquire him from the Rangers, it would not be via a trade. It would probably cost about Farabee and a first in terms of value, which isn't horrible, but I don't want to trade another first and a roster player. If we did sign him, we could get him for a second-round pick if we offer him, I believe, 4 years of 5.2, which I'm sure he would sign. The Rangers have, I think, $2.83 million in cap space, so they have to free up some money to sign him. We could poach him as an RFA and only have to give up a second-round pick. The cost is not the problem. The problem is I'd like to at least start the season before I start thinking about cutting players. If Farabee has a terrible preseason and has 1 goal and 3 assists in the first 15 games of the year, absolutely. But right now, Farabee has been a winger for a long time. He's been a great player here in Philadelphia. There's not much reason to think about moving him. He's one of the longer-serving players on the team. He's 25 now. He's an original draft pick. He's played over 400 games, coming off back-to-back 60-point seasons in the post-Thanos snap world. I don't really have much reason to want to replace him unless he gives me a reason to want to. So guys like Farabee, Puljujärvi, even maybe Frost, because he's on a great contract though, they're on the hot seat. They have to perform to keep their spot in the top 6. But I can't bring in someone to replace them when I have no reason to do so. Now to finish off the thoughts over on the Discord server, after all the discussions, there was a lot of love for O'Reilly, for Peterson. Hobbsy comes in and lays down the hammer. You can pause and read it all. I'll try and skim through it. Basically saying that I understand everyone's concerns about not having a true number 1 centerman. We have to rely on Giroux. But if we go out and acquire someone like O'Reilly or Peterson, we have a bigger logjam than we already have. Moving Brink for one of these guys does nothing as he's not currently in the lineup, so someone else sits. So as people are saying, we would move someone like Farabee or Puljujärvi, but it would almost seem like we should hold off on trading for a big name forward as the forward depth is quite deep right now. I would move Brink and possibly Lindblom, only if his value is at least a second, for pick/prospects and roll with what we have. If Giroux's currently getting a +5 on line 1, and we drafted Savoie to be the number 1 centerman in the future, and Frost up to an 86 already, why don't we just let Savoie grow into the 1C role instead of trading for someone else to block him in the future? Could be a hot take based on the suggestions, and I agree, it is a hot take based on everything we've been reading from the comments, but it may be the right move. Savoie was drafted for number 1. He needs to grow into that, and there's already 2 perfectly capable centermen ahead of him for the time being. 3 if we're counting Newhook. Brink and possibly Lindblom can go for futures, but that's all I would do up front. But for the blue line, York was pretty bad last year, so he could possibly get traded. It basically comes down to whether or not we want to upgrade on Sanheim or York. Pelech is probably my favorite option if we upgrade, and I don't think it's all that close. And Pat, in an earlier comment, had said Slavin just signed a deal in free agency, and the Islanders were just a lottery team, so trading for Pelech would make a lot more sense. So basically, if we're going to be moving Brink or Lindblom, whoever else, just take them, put them in a Pelech deal, maybe with York, and get an 88 and a 91 on that top defensive pair, with the hope that Hugo Brisebois will take over on the top pair for Pelech before his contract is over, which is in 4 years, pushing him down the lineup. If we do acquire a big name, I think it's Pelech. I also don't think it's absolutely necessary. We could start the season and see if anyone bounces back / who's doing well. In net, don't touch anything. That's all from me. I think I've covered everything I want to. Go Flyers. Thank you for that, Hobbsy. The balanced approach isn't always the most popular approach. And trust me, I would love Peterson. But Giroux's closing in on records for most games played, for most points even all time. He's an 86, giving the top line a +5. There's no reason to move on from Claude Giroux right now, our captain. Farabee back-to-back 60 points. Puljujärvi 30 and 40. Frost crazy contract. If anybody we move on from, it's probably Cam York, who was abysmal last season. 19 points, negative 21 in 76 games, playing a ton of first pair minutes. He ended up averaging over 21 minutes a night and was not doing very well. So all that to say, I'd like to start the regular season as we are right now, unless someone really bombs in the preseason. But that's just about it. I'm not going to do my typical preseason experimentation because it's already packed enough. I'll put Brink, I'll try Ronnie, maybe Matthew Strome, but I'm not going to be calling up players who are fringe guys. They have to stay in the AHL this season. Simulating to the start of the preseason, I tried to sign a couple AHL coaches. This guy rejected. Okay, goodbye. Enjoy unemployment. Mayorov and Riley for Teravainen on a 7-year deal and a 3rd-round pick. Oh my goodness, that's a big offer from the Hurricanes. Thank you for it, but I cannot afford taking on Teravainen. Yves Burrows is on the NHL roster as the goalie coach, NHL coaching staff, that is, excuse me. Ryan Pulock and a 3rd for Riley and Mayorov. Yeah, teams are going to come knocking here. Toffoli and a 3rd for Suarez and Kaskamaki. Not going to make any of those moves just yet. We want to get to the start of the preseason. And our roster for the start of the preseason will already look as you've already been seeing it right here. I will get Brink and Strome in for maybe like 4 games each. Ronnie's going to play a little bit. But aside from that, I'll show you the stats at the end of the preseason. I'm not going to go through it game by game as I usually do because there's not much to talk about. Last thing I want to say is that I updated many X factors around the NHL, guys like Zegras and Tim Stützle, who are now like 90 overalls who didn't have X factors. I also added the back at you X factor for Moritz Seider. I didn't add any more X factors for anyone else on our team. We can always think about that moving forward, but I didn't want to do anything more since there wasn't really any suggestions for it. So that being said, I will take care of the lineup and give everyone some opportunities. It could be that Lindblom and Brink push to make a name for themselves. I'm going to give them some top 6 minutes, but this preseason will be the first opportunity for us to see if somebody moves out, who will it be? So I'll catch you at the end of the preseason and we'll go over the stats. All right, so by the end of the preseason, we went 5-1-1. The first line was amazing. I pretty much took Giroux out of the lineup because he was just too good. Claude Giroux, 8 points in 4 games. Like, look at this guy. Laine, 7 goals, 11 points in 7 games. Moritz Seider, 10 points in 7 games. Nylander, 7 and 5. Now, Isaac Ratcliffe, as 4th-line centerman, playing 9.5 minutes a night, had 7 points in 7 games. Now, this guy's been known for being good in the preseason. Other preseasons in the past, what has he done here? Oh no, that was, I guess, in the previous universe. But I remember him being good in the preseason. Cam York, he had, like, I think 1 or 2 assists in 5 games. Or 4 games, and then I put him on the top pair with Seider. He now has 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, and a +9. So I'm going to keep him with Seider, and maybe that's his spot. I don't know. Pionk, 5 points in 7 games. Lindblom, 4 points in 7 games. Only playing 10.5 minutes a night, 4 points. Paros, 4 points. Puljujarvi, 4 points, -2. Okay. Savoie, 4 points. Brisebois, 3 points. Farabee, 2 goals, 3 points. Okay, +1 through 7 games as 2nd-line left wing. Okay. Bobby Brink, 4th-line right wing, 3 points in 5 games. He's not making it easy for us. Morgan Frost, 3 points in 7 games. That 2nd line wasn't extremely impressive, but it is the preseason. Newhook, 3 assists in 7 games. Strome had 2 goals in 2 games that he played, so I guess he at least earned a spot to stay in the NHL, whether it be lineup or 13th forward. Ronnie had 2 assists in 5 games. Forster, 1 assist in 5 games. I gave him a lot of ice time. He didn't really do anything. I think Forster's out. Risto only played a couple games. We love him. He's staying. And Sanheim, 7 games, no points, even ±. Goaltending, Michael DiPietro was 5-1-0 with great numbers. Subban didn't play much. He faced 62 shots and allowed 9 goals. Really difficult numbers, but DiPietro looked great, so of course he will start the year between the pipes. Now, all that being said, I'm going to fix up the lineup with how we're going to look on opening night, putting Giroux and Nylander back in the lineup. And there we go. So, the way Lindblom's been, he's been so good. He plays the 2nd line, no chemistry. Lindblom, I'd like, even if it's the 4th line, give him some special teams. He was playing 10.5 minutes a night. It's not horrible. He's a leader on this team, has an alternate captaincy. I'd like to keep him even if it's 4th line. It's Bobby Brink that 4th line doesn't make a lot of sense for. Only playing 8.21 per night. I'd have to give him special teams. And I'm already giving special teams to the guys on the 3rd line who are missing out on some ice time. So I think we'll start the year like this, minus Brink. Matthew Strome, 2 goals in 2 games. I'm going to try him as 4th liner. It makes sense as the power forward. Forster is going to be trade bait sometime very soon. Even though it's not good for the chemistry, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to try Lindblom, Ratcliffe, Strome to start the year. If it's really horrible, maybe we'll go Brink, try and boost his trade value, something like that. But the top 9 will stay like that. Defense, York will play with Sider. Not good for chemistry, but that's how we'll do it. Brisebois playing with Ronnie. Ronnie looked good. He gets to keep his 7th D spot. And of course, Michael DiPietro starting between the pipes. We're going to start the year like that, give it 10 to 15 games, and then reevaluate. So no need to wait any longer. Let's dive right into this, ladies and gentlemen. The season begins at home at the Wells Fargo Center against the Minnesota Wild. Patrick Laine, Neil Pionk, Michael DiPietro all making their Flyers debut. Let's do it. Game 1, year 4 at the helm in Philadelphia. The very aggressive and accelerated retool over the course of the last few months is over. We had a second round exit, and then a postseason miss. This year we go on a run. It all starts now. First period, 1-0 Flyers. Oscar Lindblom! There he is. Second period, 2-0. Newhook shorthanded. Look at you. That's his first Flyer goal. Again, his Flyers debut as well, and his first NHL game in 3 years. Welcome back to North America. 2-0 Flyers after 40. Kaprizov makes it a 2-1 game as he beats DiPietro for the first time. Shots, not many shots on either side here. 23-17, about halfway through this third period. 10 minutes to go. Flyers still hanging on to the 1-goal lead thanks to the shorthanded goal from Alex Newhook, his first as a Flyer and his first in years. 2 minutes to go, hanging on tight, and the Flyers win the first game of the year, 2-1 the final. Outshot 31-21, but Michael DiPietro makes 30 saves to get his first win as a Flyer. Lindblom a goal and an assist, and Newhook the game-winning goal. Look at that. Big 2-1 win for the Flyers to start off the year. Moving to the calendar simulation now. Let's get a little bit of a chunk-ish done. Let's go see the first Battle of Pennsylvania of the season. We'll go see the Penguins once we get a few games under our belts. 4-1 win against the Oilers. Very, very nice. 3-2 shootout loss against the Lightning in Tampa Bay. 2-0-1 through our first 3. Overtime win against the Capitals. Still unbeaten in regulation. Injury fixed down in the minors. All right, that's all taken care of. After those games, we see a 3-2 win against the Rangers and a 5-1 win against the Jets. We're 5-0-1 in our first 6 games, undefeated in regulation. Can we keep that up? Headed into the game against the Penguins. We'll have to do it in Carolina against the Hurricanes, a team that we have a deep history with. Injury down in the minors. It is a 4-2 loss. There's our first regulation loss. We're 5-1-1 headed into this game against the Penguins. I was talking about firsts and all that, but I totally forgot it's Parros' rookie season as well. So it was his first game that we just saw previously. Savoie, it's the start of his first full NHL season. He previously played, 10 games in the NHL? This will be his first, so technically this is his rookie season. Let's do it. Battle of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh. First period, big scoring period. My goodness! A 9-goal first period. Okay, Victor Arvidsson opens it up by scoring twice within the first 2 minutes, and the goals are like 18 seconds within one another. 50 seconds later, Giroux scores in the power play. 2.5 minutes after that, Laine scores even strength. 2-2 game in the first 5 minutes. Hollander makes it 3-2. Zucker makes it 4-2. Puljujarvi a 1-goal game. Parros ties it up, and then Moritz Seider with 40 seconds to go gives us the lead. Shots are 17-9. Both starting goalies are still in, it seems like, unless DiPietro got pulled or Murray got pulled. I don't know on their last goals. But 17-9 of the shots, 9 goals have been scored on what? It was, and now 10 goals scored on like 30 shots as Malmstrom ties it up at 5. Power play Philly. Okay, let's just get to the end of the second period, and it ends 5-5. Shots are 30-16, yet the score is tied at 5. This is a Battle of Pennsylvania if I ever saw one. Puljujarvi's second of the night, 6-5, and then Newhook makes it 7-5. That also his second of the night? Hold on. Was that his second as well for Newhook? No, Parros was the rookie who scored earlier. So that's his first, Puljujarvi's second. We're up by 2. Power play with 7 minutes to go. Those +5 units killed off by the Penguins. Zucker makes it 7-6 with 5 minutes to go. 1-goal game. His second of the night. Final 2 minutes. Minute left, and the Flyers hang on. Shots end 44-27. But it's a 7-6 final. My goodness. First star of the night, Zucker with 2 goals and an assist. Moritz Seider had a goal and 2 assists. Kasperi Kapanen had a 3-assist performance. What happened out here? Let me see the plus minuses in this one. -2 only from Hugo Brisebois. Second line, first line saw some negatives as well. Farabee a couple assists. Sheesh. Pionk and Risto -1s with no points. Brisebois also negative with no points. And DiPietro was in for the whole game. He allowed 6 goals and 27 shots, had a .778 save percentage. Hope you didn't put him in your fantasy lineups, but he does get the win for us. And we are 6-1-1 through our first 8 games. We wanted to go about 15 games or so. So let's keep on simulating, and we'll stop whenever it feels like the right time. But things are looking good in Philly so far. The Penguins are a good team as well. That was only their second regulation loss of the year. Fully healed down in the minors. Back to normal. There we go. Against the Blues in St. Louis, we lose 2-1. A couple days later, we play them again, but now at home after a tight 2-1 loss, and we beat them 3-2. Lose by 1, win by 1. 7-2-1 through the first 10 games of the season. Big game here against the Islanders, back-to-back. Then we see the Hurricanes both at home. Islanders, who are 9-5-0, we lose 5-1, and then we lose 3-2 against the Hurricanes. Lightning, another home game for us right here. We get shut out 2-0. 3-game losing streak. 4 of our last 5 we've lost. Shootout loss against the Minnesota Wild. Vancouver Canucks, they beat us 3-1. Yikes, that was a really tough stretch. Yikes. If you take the loss against the Blues there, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1-5-1. Yikes, in our last 7. 7-6-2. Oh boy. That's the 15-game mark, but I'd like to end it on a high note before we go and look at stuff here. So we're 7-6-2, dropped a little bit. We're taking on the 13-4-0 Ottawa Senators, a very good team. Hopefully the slow sim gives us a little more luck here before we go and check things out. First period action, 2-1 Sens, Josh Norris and Thomas Chabot. Line A scores for us. Second period, 3-2. Brandstrom scores for the Senators. York brings us back within 1. Shots 24-18 in our favor, but we're down by 1. Tie game thanks to Alex Newhook, who scores another shorthanded goal, but Matthew Ward restores the 1-goal lead for the Sens, who are still being outshot, but a 1-goal lead for the Senators. About halfway through now, Drake Batherson makes it a 2-goal lead. Now at the halfway point, make it a 3-goal lead, as DiPietro is imploding over here, allowing 3 goals in 6 minutes, or 6.5, whatever. And that'll call it a night. We lose 6-3 the final, despite outshooting Ottawa 33-28. And after a 7-2-1 start, we are now, what, 7-7-2? Is that our record? Yeah, 7-7-2 is our record. So from jubilation to devastation, 7-7-2. We're at 500 through 16 games. Let's take a moment to pause and check out what's going on. Puljujärvi leading the team in points with 15 and 16. Look at that. But I want to see what his line mates are up to. Farabee, 12 points. You know what? He's surprising me. Frost, 10 and 16. Where is Claude Giroux? 7 points in 16 games. Oh, -9? What? So the second line looks great. Nylander, 9 assists, no goals, -9. Line A, 7 goals, 8 points, -10. Paros has 8 points in 16 games. Pionk, 8 and 16 as well. Sider, also 8, but a -9. Newhook, 7. Giroux, 7. Savoie, 6. Lindblom, 6. Sanheim, 5. Hugo, Ratcliffe, Strome, 2 points. York is a -10. That's not going to fly, Cam. No, that's not going to fly. We got to make that change now. Yeah, that sold me. Cam York scored his only goal last game. Can't do it. I can't do it, Cam. I want to do it. I can't. I really can't. I'm sorry. Goaltending, DiPietro's not looking good. Subban's the one who's looking good, but a much smaller sample size. Yeah, tough numbers from DiPietro. We need to give him better defense. Time to make that move. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can turn this into a hockey deal. The Islanders are sellers. They're winning right now, but they're a lottery team last year who wants to improve. I trade you Tyson Forster, top 6, signed for 3 more years, former first-round pick. There you go. I trade you Cam York, also a former first-round pick, 14th overall, 84 overall, top 4 defenseman. He replaces Pelech right away. You pick up a prospect in Forster and a medium elite goalie prospect in Orlando Swartz, a 4th-round pick from last year. We drafted 2 elite goalies to our system. When it comes down to which one do we think we want to keep, we don't know that just yet, but Lebedev is a higher overall at a younger age, so I prefer to move out one and keep the other, while, you know, in our system we still have people like F. Gascon, so it's not like we're drawing the system totally, and the Islanders don't have anyone in their goalie system. Can we get back a 5th and a 6th, maybe even I don't know, throw in another 6th the year after. I'm going to see if the Islanders would be interested in a trade like this where both teams are getting different things here. So 2 fifths and a 6th with Adam Pelech, left-handed D-man, 88 overall, signed for 4 more years. For a prospect, a top 4 D-man, and a prospect goalie. Big Lou, what do you say to this? Trade rejected. Let's try taking out the 6th. Big Lou, still not quite interested. A 4th, a 5th, goalie prospect, forward prospect, top 4 D-man for an 88 overall, signed for 4 more years. I understand he's very valuable. He has great stats. He has the X factors. He has 5-star defense. I understand his value. Big Lou, aren't where you need to be. I don't know, we're just playing a pick game here. 3rd and 2027. I thought the 4th and the 5th would be my final offer. If they would do it for a 3rd and a 4th, we could do that. Look at the value. It's in our favor. That's why I hate the value. Is it really the value or is it not the value? Lou, 3rd and a 4th aren't where you need to be. Wow, this is shocking. I was really looking forward to this trade happening. I think we'll have to just rework it because the goalie in the picks is not working because of the low value that goalies have. I think I'll have to throw in one of our medium elite unsigned prospects, which I didn't want to do, but again, it makes sense for the Islanders. It hurts us, but it makes sense for them. They get another medium elite prospect in their system, a guy who is a long-term project because they're not a team who's ready to go just yet. They get a defenseman right now, a defenseman for the future, and a prospect forward for the future, all in exchange for one guy who's 31 and on a deal that they don't want anymore. So I think they get very good value with this. The bar is very much in their favor. Forster and York have to move out. Riley just makes it happen, the prospect there. So I think now we can hopefully take back some value, and we're giving so much in Riley. And honestly, I prefer to give Riley than the goalie and a 3rd and a 4th or whatever. So can I get the 5th and a 6th now when I'm giving you all that value? Maybe even more. I gotta at least try. Make it 2/3. What do you say here? You aren't where you need to be. Let's make it a 3rd next year and a 5th and a 7th this year. Let's try that. 3rd next year, 5th and a 7th this year. Quite far off in value. 3rd this year, a 7th this year. Aren't where you need to be. 3rd next year, quite far off. What? 2/6. Look at the trade value here. You're getting a prospect. You're getting things that you need. Forget your block. It's giving you exactly what you're missing on your team. 2/6. Trade accepted. Thank you, Lou, and your stubborn ways. Welcome to the Team Bellow, Adam Pelech. Welcome to Philadelphia. Cam York, Tyson Forster, thank you for your time here with the franchise. Didn't work out. Wish you all the best on a division rival. We'll be seeing you, but it was time to make the move. Let's get Pelech in this system. Let's turn things around after the last, 6-7 games have been really horrendous. All right, so there we go. I'm going to try bringing Bobby Brink onto the 4th line. You know what? If we throw out the idea that we want him to grow, and we just accept that he's going to be stunted as an 82, 83, but he's helping some supplementary scoring, I don't hate him on the 4th line. Our 13th forward then becomes Matthew Strome. On defense, Pelech now plays with Seider, 88 and 91, a huge overall upgrade, absolutely. Our 7th D-man stays Ronnie. Our 3rd goalie is Ustamenko. I think we are ready to really rock and roll now. Pelech playing penalty kill minutes, filling in where York was a bit over his head, and hopefully everyone is happy moving forward. The Islanders got a boatload of return for Adam Pelech, so I think they're happy. He's on a good contract. He has X factors. It makes sense. So now we're 2-7-1 in our last 10 after going 7-2-1 in our first 10, or whatever it evens out to over the last 16 games. We're taking on the 9-8-1 Dallas Stars with Adam Pelech making his Flyers debut at the Wells Fargo Center. The second line's been amazing. The first line continues to falter, and I have to change something up there, but hopefully that defensive fix is enough to make it happen. First period, first goal from William Nylander. His first goal of the season comes 22 seconds in with GM Data watching in the booth on the Big Lebowski between the pipes for the Stars. Second period, 2-0, Patrick Laine. 2 goals from that first line. 2-0 after 40. Shots 28, I think 17 after the second period. Here in the third, Rasmus Ristolainen makes it 3-0. Power play Phillies killed off by the Stars. We're up by 3. Power play Dallas. 5-on-3 power play for the Stars. Adam Pelech's out there sliding around like Hal Gill, crawling on the ice, blocking shots. Under 5 to go. Shots are being led. 3-0 Philly. Call it a shutout victory. Shots end 37-26, and we win 3-0 the final. Let's Let's see it. DiPietro makes 26 saves. Laine a goal and 2 assists. Nylander a goal and an assist. His first goal of the season. And Adam Pelech, I wonder what kind of ice time Adam Pelech did right here. Let me see. 23:03 and a +2. Absolutely lovely. So a big 3-0 victory. We will take that every single time. Let's do another little experiment of calendar simulation, and then hopefully we don't need to stop again until around the halfway point so we can start breezing through this year. But we want to go see the Islanders absolutely in New York. We'll go see Forster and York against Pelech here. Vegas, Colorado, Chicago, and Winnipeg between now and then. A little Western Conference swing. So the first game was a 3-0 win, 5-3 win against Vegas, 6-1 loss against the Avalanche. Chicago Blackhawks now. I'll fix this quickly. We have past December 1st, so it looks like Wayne Peterson is not going to work for us this year. We could still acquire him, absolutely, but we're not going to be getting him into our lineup this season. I know we had a tough little stretch there, but I think we did well enough in the first half to make me say that the little change we made for Adam Pelech will be enough to push us through. It wasn't enough to make me say I want a big top 6 change, especially with the second line being good. That first line just needs to find their footing with how good they can be. 3-2 overtime win against the Blackhawks. In Winnipeg to take on the Jets, we're 10-8-2. Winnipeg, we beat them 5-3. Very nice. And now at this point against the Islanders, now is a loss against the Avalanche. So a little Western Conference swing. We are 4-1 in the last 5 games. Now taking on the 13-11-0 Islanders in New York. It's Pelech versus York and Forster. Let's see what we can do here in Long Island in a Metropolitan Division matchup. First period, 3-1 Flyers. Laine opens it up. Puljujarvi 2-0. Cam York, of course, makes it a 2-1 game, and Newhook restores our 2-goal lead. Shots only 7-3. 4 goals on 10 shots in total. 3-1 after 20. Second period, 4-3. Dvorak makes it a 1-goal game. Giroux restores the 2-goal lead, and then Wahlstrom once again. No, 1-goal game once again. Shots 19-14 in our favor, but we're only up by 1 here in the third period. Power play Philly early for that +5 unit. No, nothing coming from that. I really want to see what our power play percentage is looking like right now. Halfway through the third, we're still up by 1. Another power play opportunity, once again killed off by the Islanders. Under 5 to go with a 1-goal lead. Shots are pretty even. Both teams are pushing late in the final minute. Kyle Okposo scores with 10 seconds left. And we're headed to overtime. Shots 29-26. Let's check out some overtime action. Overtime here in Long Island, New York at the UBS Arena. Kyle Okposo, who's back on the Islanders, scored with 10 seconds to go to tie it up. Let's see if we can get this done in the extra 5 minutes here. 3-on-3 Nylander. Sider tries to put it on net, can't get it through. Barzal over to JT Compher, coming in on Claude Giroux, who's back. Claude Giroux playing defense, skating away from the puck. Nice pad save there from DiPietro. Moritz Seider leading the charge now. But he gets pickpocketed by Pelech. Now here's JT Compher in the corner. Bumped again by Seider, who gets it in front of his own net. Nylander, look for that outlet pass. There it is, big boy. Claude Giroux, 2-on-1. Wasting time. Little Dipsy Doodle scores! The captain, Claude Giroux, wins it in overtime. Beautiful little Dipsy Doodle right there. And he gets it top shelf glove side on, I'm not sure who was that between the pipes for the Islanders, but we will take that victory in overtime. We deserve those 2 points, and we get them. Claude Giroux comes in on the rush, little move, snipe top shelf, bang. A big night for the captain as he scores 2 goals and an assist. Now 12-8-2 is our record. Let's get another chunk of simulation done, hopefully without anything really interrupting us too much as we move towards the January 2026 calendar month. 4-3 win against the Calgary Flames. We shut out the Panthers 1-0. Drew Doughty on a 2-year deal. I will pass the moment. LA Kings, who just offered that deal, they beat us 7-3, breaking our 5-game winning streak there. We're back on the horse with a 3-1 win against the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas, we beat them 4-3. All right, we're back in the mix here. Seattle Kraken in Seattle, we beat them 3-1. A nice little stretch of games we're stringing together here. Joe Marino, Brennan, I'm going to pass on. That's a great deal for us, but we don't have room for any of those players. 6-1 win against the Sharks. A 5-2 win against the Senators. Keep this rolling. Don't stop. Don't stop. We face the Senators again after beating them 5-2. We beat them 4-3. Keep it going. Yes, sir. Keep it going. Let's go. Come on. 3-1 loss. All right. So we got to end eventually. And then a 2-0 loss. All right. Let's shut it down here for a second. Blue Jackets fire their head coach. And Newhook has a mild concussion. He's only going to be out for about a week or so. So we'll get Strome back in the lineup. And then I'm going to pause to take a look at things a little bit more deeply. All right, so Strome comes in the lineup. Savoie will go center, Brink up to the third line because he gives it a +3. Why not? And we'll pause there with a 5-1 win against the Blackhawks. So we had a great stretch there. Since we acquired Adam Pelech after the 6-3 loss there, we started with the game against Dallas. We went 13-2 in our first 15 games. In total, 14-4 in the last 18 games? Crazy, crazy stuff as we now move into the month of January. We're almost at the halfway point. I'm going to pause to update the scouting. We'll simulate to game number 41, halfway point, and then we'll take a second to check out the team and player stats. All right, scouting update is done, but I just wanted to inform everyone that there is a medium franchise player going first overall out of the Extra Liga. He is comparable to Wayne Gretzky, so he'll definitely be like an 84 overall out of the draft, 90 overall within a year or two. Crazy stuff. He's going to be a huge player for whoever gets that first overall pick. Let's keep on simulating towards the halfway point. 6 more games. And then the 7th, I believe, is against the Rangers. We're playing the Rangers right now. Then we'll play them again in a couple of weeks. At home, the Rangers are a losing team. We barely just beat them 2-1 in a shootout. Alex Newhook is back, so we'll put him in the lineup. There we go. Detroit Red Wings, a little glitch there. Okay, we lose 2-1. Narrow couple games right there. Penguins in Pittsburgh, we beat them 6-1, so back on the horse after some tight games, a little blowout victory, never hurt anybody. Then we lose 4-2. Back-to-back games here, we lose again. Back-to-backs that end with a second game against the Predators. Lose 4-3, lose 2-1. A couple weeks ago, lose 3-1, lose 2-0. So we lose like 4 of our last 5 right there. We're now 23-15-2. This is the official halfway point against the Rangers. We are 23-15-2. They're 17-19-4. We beat them 2-1 in the shootout a couple of weeks ago. Let's fly through this one. First period, 1-0. Patrick Laine on the power play. Second period, 3-1. Giroux and Nylander, all 3 of our first liners scoring. Libor Hayek scoring for the Rangers. We're almost doubling their shots. We're up by 2 here in the third period. Anything early happening, or do we just sim right to the end? We'll go to the end, and it's a 3-2 final as Kakko adds a power play goal, but we outshoot the Rangers 38-20, and another close 1-goal victory, though. That's the problem. We're getting a lot of shots. The offense is good, but a lot of these wins seem to be pretty close. There have been a few blowouts, don't get me wrong. But, all right, at the halfway point, we're 24-15-2, on pace for a 48-30-4 season. Definitely very, very good numbers right there. Puljujarvi is still leading the team in points at the halfway point. He's on pace for a 70-point season with 35-41. Under him, we have Laine with 31. He's on pace for a 62-point year. I'd want a bit more from him. Same for Nylander. Parros on the third line with power play, 29 points in 41 games in his rookie season. He's on pace for a 58-point rookie season. Giroux 27, Frost 26, Sider 24, very good, -2 though. Few negatives out there. Farabee 23 points, -2. He's on pace for 46 points. Not horrible, but I don't know if he has that spot in the top 6 long term. Also note that he doesn't have any power play time. Savoie 22 points, Newhook 16, Pionk 16, Lindblom 10, on pace for 20 points as a 4th liner. He's a leader, has penalty kill time. I like it so far. Adam Pelech, since we picked him up, what did he do? Let's see. He has 5 points and is a +4 since we picked him up. As many points in 6 more games and a +11 from a -7 to a +4. We'll take that. Yep, Pelech's been good for us. Sanheim 10 points +6, Ratcliffe 7 points, Brink 5 points in 25 games, playing 740 per night. I don't know, man. I don't know about Brink. Brisebois 5, Ristolainen 5, Strome with a couple points in 17 games. Goaltending, Michael DiPietro is 20, 14, and 1 with 2 shutouts. 909 save percentage, 2.63 goals against. Subban 4, 1-1 with a 921 and 2.45 against. Might want to get more games for Malcolm Subban in there, perhaps. Over in the AHL, Eve Gascon is looking amazing out there. She's still a 74 overall, but very good to see. So that's the tough part. Do we want to get more scoring in the top 6? Do we maybe acquire Wayne Peterson from the Rangers and then Farabee leaves after this season? But I don't know if I want to pull the cord on Farabee just yet. The guy's on pace for, if he can finish with 50-some points as a second liner, I don't want to be like, not quite good enough, buddy. It's still a good season that he's having so far. The second line is, they're just barely negatives. Puljujarvi's leading the team in point. It's the first line that I'd want to see a bit more from. Maybe Claude Giroux needs to be a better first line centerman up there. If Savoie goes, it gives the line a +1. Do I try demoting Giroux, who's now at an 85 overall? We go Giroux on the wing, and Savoie gets to play center with Nylander and Laine. You know what? It wouldn't hurt to try. He has 4 goals, 18 assists. Let's keep track of that. 22 points for Savoie at the moment. 22 points. Let's see what happens in the next 10 games or so if we give him some first line time. Giroux down on the third line, but still lots of special teams and all that. He'll get his ice time. When we're looking at the team stats now, we see that we are the 8th best team in the NHL. We're scoring pretty well. Scoring against us not too high. Power play at 17.1% is among the top 10, I believe, as we're just below the Oilers, I would imagine, if these menus could go any faster. Yeah, 17.1, and our penalty kill is 85.6, which is closer to the top than the bottom. More around the middle for the penalty kill, but either way, both of our special teams are performing. That's not been an issue for us. But let's try Savoie, first line centerman. It keeps the +5, plus he's more of a playmaker. Maybe it alleviates some of the goal scoring that Giroux felt that he had to do. It really can just be all on Laine. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, let's go into the month of February, and we'll go see the Leafs after a little. We have a week break between games against the Leafs here. So in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs, we have Nylander playing his old team. We lose 4-2. They're a very good team. They had 28 wins on the season. We're on pace for 48. Let's try and keep that pace up, ladies and gentlemen. 4-3 shootout loss, 5-4 loss. Devils 7-2 win. All right, that's what we needed to see. Big 7-2 win. Sabres, we beat them 3-1. Couple of back-to-back wins. Let's go. DiPietro has a strained hamstring. This is what we needed, actually. Subban going a little run here. Let's get Subban between the pipes. Ustimenko backing him up. Maybe this is just what Subban needed because he's had good numbers. Let's let him run with it a little bit. Ustimenko can get on the bench. He's been collecting cobwebs up in the booth, so there we go. San Jose Sharks at home. We beat them 3-1. Sanheim now has an abdominal strain. So we'll promote Hugo Brisebois to the second defensive pair, and Ronnie will play with Risto, the classic Ronnie Risto third pair. And there we go. -3. What? And why is Pelican Cider at +1 now? They were 0 before. The chemistry, it's not consistent. It changes all the time. 3-1 win, and then a 3-2 shootout win, overtime win, against the Hurricanes. That is a 4-game winning streak now for us. Elias Anderson, we can do that down in the AHL. The Bruins are 17-31-5, I think. We'll see how we do against them in a moment. All right, and in Boston, we beat them 7-3, very good. And a very good Maple Leafs team, we beat them 4-3. So we beat them once, and they beat us once. DiPietro's now healthy, but if Claude Giroux's been if Malcolm Subban's been our guy out here, we love Malcolm Subban. He's been very good. Ustimenko, he's been good as well. You know what, Michael DiPietro, let's say that he's going to keep resting a little bit. No need to rush him back. We have 30 wins on the season coming in to take the Maple Leafs on once more. After they beat us and we beat them. Patrick Kane, a prospect, and a third for Farabee and Mayarov. Sheesh. We are 30-17-3. They're 34-15-2. This will be a good one with Malcolm Subban between the pipes, I believe, unless the computer changed it because it's back-to-back with the Rangers up next. Let's do it. First period, 2-0 Leafs. Yeah, Pacioretty and Radulov both scoring on Malcolm Subban. 2 goals on 8 shots. Second period, no scoring. Shots 26-21 in our favor, but we're down by 2 here in the third period. 31 shots, nothing coming. Power play, Toronto. We kill it off. Let's go first line with your +5. Let's go. Patrick Laine, we signed you to score goals. Let's see him. With 6 minutes left, we're being shut down by the Maple Leafs. Hold on, there's Paros on Swayman. We're down by 1. Still 2 minutes to go. This is anybody's game with 30 seconds left. Paros tried to do it, but it wasn't enough. We get outshot 38-35 in the end and lose 2-1. Swayman 34 saves. Subban turned it around after a tough first period. 36 saves from him. But the scoring is not coming through. So since the halfway point, we're now at 50. So we played 10 games since the halfway point. Or actually, we need to play one more since 41 was technically the halfway point. We'll go through the game against the Rangers on the road. Another trade offer here from the Hawks that we will decline. On the road against the Rangers, we lose 4-1. Lovely. So back-to-back wins, back-to-back losses. And that has been 10 games since we tried putting Matthew Savoie as the first-line centerman. So he had 22 points in 41 games. Now he has 27 points in 52 games. So he scored 6 points in 10 games. Not bad, not bad. 27 points now for him. Line A, 24 goals on the year. Puljujarvi's still looking great. Nylander, I guess maybe you do need more of a scoring first-line centerman because with Nylander and Savoie both being playmakers, Line A, he's happy to reap the benefits, but I guess you need more scoring power than just two very strong playmakers. But I've liked seeing Savoie in that role. That's been good. Goaltending, Subban looking very good, so I'm going to keep him in for the moment. 7-2-1, we'll keep going with him. Tough call for the rest of the team. Puljujarvi's been a great revelation for us. The two Finns here, Puljujarvi and Line A, leading the way for us. But I don't know, did we try putting Giroux back in the line? What did he do? Because the halfway point, he had 27 in 51. I don't know why I keep misspeaking. It was 41 to 51. I don't know why I went to 52. So he had 27. So over the last 11 games as a third liner, he scored 8 points in 12 games on the third line. So you know what? I'm going to keep the lines as they are. Not because Savoie's doing well on the first line, but because Giroux's been doing very well on the third line. So we won't touch anything. Let's keep on rolling with Malcolm Subban between the pipes as well. And let's get closer to the trade deadline. We'll go to the Islanders again, who are 30, 20, and something. So they're happy to be selling and recouping value or whatever and still be a winning team. The Devils beat us 4-1. Sanheim's back in the lineup. Thank goodness. We want to get fully healthy here. Although I'm sure Ronnie was okay. Ronnie on the third pair, 6 games, nothing. And he was, so -1, not -3 in the end. So more chemistry lies. Put Sanheim on the second pair. There you go. And Parros, by the way, up to an 82 overall. Savoie up to an 83. Very, very good to see all of that. Bobby Brink, 10 points in 38 games. Not bad at all. And he has the term. We could wait to move him. He's likely getting moved sooner rather than later, but is now the right time. 3-2 win against the Penguins. Maybe we need, I don't know, a veteran two-way force down there, but the plus-minus isn't bad. A lot of things to think about. 6-3 loss against the Ducks, 5-1 loss against the Canadiens, and a 6-1 loss against the Panthers. Yeah, that's great, allowing 5 and 6 goals for a few games consistently. Lovely stuff. Arizona Coyotes, who are a losing team, if they beat us 6-5, and then a 5-4 loss. What's going on? What's with all the goals going by here? All right, so let's get DiPietro back in here. Subban, yeah, he fell off the wagon a little bit. And Ustimenko was unfortunately horrible. So, sorry, boys. Let's go back to Michael DiPietro between the pipes. I think we're not going to call it, because we already went past the halfway point, but I think we'll call it an episode before the trade deadline. And then part 2, instead of it being 2 one-hour episodes, it'll be like, this is probably an episode that went a little bit over an hour. And the next episode to wrap up the season will maybe be like a 40-minute episode or something along those lines. So we'll do the game against the Islanders, then we'll pause before the game against the Avalanche, because I don't want to go into the trade deadline mini-game there. 4-3 shootout loss. We're 31, 24, and 5, and now we're taking on the 34, 23, and 3 New York Islanders at home. Final game before we pause it to hear what the assistant general managers have to say. First period here, 0-0. Second period, 3-1 Flyers. Newhook, Parros, and Pionk. Lovely. Pajot scoring for them. 28-17, the shots in our favor, and we're up by 2 here in the third period. Power play early. I don't think we've scored any power play goals at all when we're slow simming. I don't get it. Power play Islanders, we kill it off at least. The shots 37-19. Anders Lee makes it a 3-2 game. We're up by 1, almost doubling the shots. And thank you, Hugo Brisebois makes it 4-2, doubling the shots basically, 40-20. Final couple minutes here, we'll call it 4-2 the final. Shots and 42-25, and we just squeak out a 2-goal victory. So the goal scoring is just not coming. Pionk a goal and an assist. Subban played in this one, made 23 saves. and Newhook scores a goal to get us the win. And at this point, after having played 61 games, we have 32 wins. So 21 games left to go, and we will call it right here. And we'll check out the trade blocks, and we'll check out our points, of course, and then I'll leave it to some of the assistants down in the comments to say, do we need to make any trades headed into the postseason? After 61 games, another just quick look at the points, even though we just looked at them at the halfway point. 20 games later, Puljujärvi still leading the way with 52 points. Line 28 goals, 49. Nylander 48. Frost 43. Giroux 41. Parros 21 goals, 39 points. Seider 38. Farabee 33. Savoie not doing great on the top line, 31. Pionk 26. Newhook 25 with 17 goals in 60 games. Pelech 14 points, -8. His plus-minus has suffered a little bit. He's now a -1 through 45 games with us. Ratcliffe 13, better than -20 like Cam York. But Ratcliffe 13. Sanheim 13 points, +5 in 55 games. Lindblom 12. Brink 11 in 45. Brisebois 8. Ristolainen 8. Strome with a couple points. Ronnie nothing there. Goaltending, Michael DiPietro's been all right. Couple shutouts. Subban, meh. Ustimenko, no way. Down in the AHL scoring, by the way, if you're curious, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms have been great. McLennan has 63 points in 60 games. He'll want to push for the NHL next season. Pekka, Mayorov, a lot of goal scoring for us down there. So it's been a very good season so far for the Phantoms. If you want to see scoring around the entire NHL, just quickly the top players, we see that Snoop Michael Oliver is leading the way with 54 goals in 63 games. McKinnon has 41 goals and 79 points. Byfield also 79 points, so it's a three-way race for the Art Ross. Cale Makar 74 points in 60 games. Oh my goodness. A lot of high scoring in the NHL this season. A lot of people say that there's not high scoring in EA. There often isn't, but this year there absolutely is. What we'll want to do now is check out the trade blocks around the NHL. We do have some trade value. Lindblom, I want to keep him, but if it was the right move, we would move him. He does have a lot of value as well. We have a lot of salary cap space. Let's see here. Looking, Brink and Lindblom together have a fair bit of value if you wanted to try and change that fourth line around. The rest of the team looking like this if you're interested in seeing what else is going on. And for the draft pick situation, remember we have a second, a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and 2 sixths. Not a lot of value to move, nor would we necessarily want to. So looking at the trade blocks, so sorting by overall, starting here on the Ducks, a lot of good prospects. Depends what kind of direction we're going in. That's the big thing as well. On the Coyotes, we see Tatar and Kulak. Bruins, nobody. Buffalo Sabres, we see Jeff Skinner has a couple of years left on his deal. This guy, Doughty, 76 overall, 21 years of age, medium elite. Kip Doughty, a sniper. Okay, interesting numbers. Roseyan, Janssen, Konowalchuk, etc. Calgary, nobody. Carolina, we see Teravainen with 7 years left. Bertuzzi, 3 years left. Geeky expiring deal, and so forth down there. Chicago Blackhawks, we see Mikheyev. Patrick Kane expiring deal. A lot of money. We could afford Patty Kane. He would be a second-line fit for us. That would be interesting. Patty Kane, he's almost point per game right now. He would be traded to the Eastern Conference. Chicago, are they a losing team? That's the key. They are on the fringe type of team. I could see it. Mikheyev, Kane, and other pieces up for grabs here in Chicago. Colorado, we see prospects. Columbus, prospects. Dallas, we see more prospects. Detroit, Larkin, 5 years left on his deal. Nemesnikov, Evander Kane, Silverberg, Heinen, Gaudette, and Lehkonen. There are some ideas for the fourth line if we're thinking about moving out talent and bringing in, maybe reducing the talent, but we bring in Lehkonen and a pick for a guy like Brink, right? Matejchuk and other prospects in Edmonton. Florida prospects, LA, Doughty, Carlson, Stetcher. Minnesota, we see prospects. Montreal, we see Tanev, Clegg, Faxa, Zaboral, and some other names. Chris Letang made his way to Montreal. Voracek. Nashville, we see prospects. New Jersey, and who's this guy with the value? Medium elite Ott. Yeah, we're thinking about Ott. He was a first-round pick last year, yeah. 66 overall, 19 years of age, Darren Ott. Sniper, yeah. New Jersey Devils prospects. This guy 78 overall. Spike Rissmiller, sniper with wonky 5-star shooting. New York Islanders, still Pollock and Dermott. New York Rangers, Zibanejad, Kreider, Peterson. Wayne Peterson, now might be the time to pick him up. We trade a guy like Brink. We go sign someone in free agency to fill in. and, Brink and whatever to get Peterson, I don't know. It wouldn't necessarily fit for this season, but it could be a good idea for next season. Not opposed to it. I know it didn't quite work out this year. Maybe that's a blessing in disguise. It would have caused a logjam. We would have lost a second-round pick. Maybe it would be better to trade for him when the Rangers are more desperate. Before, they wouldn't have wanted to trade with us. But now they know that we won't get to use Peterson until next season. So now it's a bit more tempting to trade him to a rival team. I could see it. I'm not saying it's the most realistic thing, but I could see it. Let me know in the comments what you could see. Ottawa prospects, Pittsburgh, we see Marino, Gourde, Kopitar, Arvidsson, especially Kopitar on an expiring deal. Same for Zucker and Kapanen and Matheson. Kopitar, very good numbers, still 4-star defense, wouldn't necessarily fit with the lines, but I like Kopitar a lot. San Jose, we see nobody. Seattle, Connor Sheary. St. Louis Blues, nobody. I guess they changed their direction or Ryan O'Reilly got moved, I'm not sure. Lightning prospects, Maple Leaf, Radulov, and other names. Vancouver prospect, Vegas, Carlson, Pietrangelo, Marchessault, White Cloud, and Capobianco. Washington Capitals, Carlson and Ovechkin, both on the block on expiring deals. Are they a losing team right now? No, they're a winning team. It would not make sense to trade for Carlson or Ovechkin right now. Maybe a guy they want to dump on a bad deal if they really want to move Hanifin for some reason on a 4-year deal, but I don't think it would make sense to trade with the Capitals. Winnipeg Jets prospects, and that's it. Alrighty. So we'll close it out by checking who are the free agents available, because we don't necessarily have to trade Bobby Brink and get a forward back if we don't like Matthew Strome or whatever. Who is available in unrestricted free agency who just wants a 1-year contract with us? Sorting, by overall. We see Xavier Ouellet, looking to forwards. We would see Henriksen. We'd see Malgin. Antoine Morin, legend with the Anaheim Ducks series back in NHL 20. Serviceable names, serviceable fourth-line names. Yeah, I could see that happening. We don't necessarily have to make a trade that gives us a fourth-line kind of guy back. We can also consider some extensions if we would like, all expiring deals. Claude Giroux currently making 4.7. His demand will keep going down. We have about 12 million to play with and not too many names to re-sign, so it shouldn't be a big problem for us. Currently unsigned players. Paco has grown. So that medium league guy who we moved Riley instead of Paco. Paco's having a good season. I checked Riley. He's having a good season too on Hamilton. So it makes sense why the Islanders would take those guys. I don't know why they wouldn't take the goalie, but it makes sense why they would want Paco or Riley, and they took Riley, who should be an NHL defenseman for them hopefully someday. But we will wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Part 1 of the season. Part 2 will be much shorter, even though this one was a bit longer. We did a lot in this episode. The lineup is something. We're a winning team. We're doing well, but we want to do better. We want to push for a deep run in the postseason. What kind of moves are necessary, if any, even if it's just a lineup move, to make that happen? So let me know all your thoughts down here in the YouTube comments or over on the Discord server with the assistant general managers. The link for that is in the description. We always have good discussions. We did, again, about the Pelech trade. We discussed it in the Discord server. So if you want to be on the cutting edge of everything happening here in Philadelphia, be sure to join because we'd love to have you there. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure that you do so you won't miss out on any franchise mode or career simulation uploads, as well as our content as we're moving into NHL 23. The franchise mode deep dive will be coming out this month, so I can't wait. You won't want to miss my thoughts on that. I'll have a franchise mode wish list video coming out soon as well, so lots happening here on the channel and you don't want to miss it. So be sure to also leave a like for the successful first half of the season, and now we're moving into the last 20 games, wrapping it up and wanting to go into the postseason strong. Looking forward to reading all your thoughts down here on YouTube and over on the Discord server, and I very much appreciate you taking the time to watch, enjoy, and add your thoughts here in Philly for our 4th season. So thank you very much for doing that, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you again in the next one.